I look like what's her name, Violet out of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You know, the girl that explodes because she eats the wrong sweet. But I put this on this morning thinking, oh, I wonder if that will fit. And it does.
So today we've got Russell Quirk on. He's very kindly taken 20-30 minutes out of his day to discuss his experience in the program, the 1% Blueprint. We're going to dig into it and find out like more about what Russell did, his results, and like his experience throughout the program, what his key learnings and takeaways have been. Before we dig into that, Russell, do you want to introduce yourself, who you are, what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Russell Quirk. I'm predominantly a property guy. So my background is estate agency, property development, prop tech and stuff. But more latterly and mainly, I run a PR firm which is focused on the property industry. So getting media coverage for property firms. And you know, I write a bit. So I write for a property trade magazine and occasionally do a bit of property and political punditry on the likes of Talk Radio, GB News and so on.
What was going on for you to make you think, right, I want to, you know, what was going on to sort of catalyst? I wanted to do something.
There was, I guess, a number of things were going on. So I was, and still am, really, really busy, getting older. So I'm 54, and kind of life starts to kind of catch up with you as you get a bit older. And, you know, I noticed that I was putting on a little bit of weight and, you know, kind of too busy, big inverted commas, to do much about it. But at the same time, it's going to sound very morbid, my best friend died. Who was 52 years old, you know, not a particularly big drinker or, you know, party animal anymore, but just, you know, too busy, bit out of shape, worked like crazy. And prior to that, so my dad died pretty young, my mum died even younger. So I kind of had this, what started off as a nagging thing in the back of my head, that if you start to look after yourself, guess what? You might live longer, which when you've got a family, as I have, I've got a son and 3 younger daughters, and you know, I'd like to try and see their 40th birthday, frankly. I thought that I need to kick myself up the arse to make sure that I'm more in shape, and predominantly also then to feel better. By the way, I'm a very skeptical and cynical person, right? So people like you come along and to say, hey, look, I can sort you out. Half of me is thinking, yeah, right. But look, you absolutely did. And look, I'm sure we'll go into it, how that process works. But I get up in the morning, I don't have breakfast, I do my workout, I do my 10,000 steps most days. And, you know, I don't want to reveal all yet, but I've gone from the weight I was at to the weight I was when I left the 12 weeks. And I'm still at that weight. Now, I know it's only 3 or 4 weeks on, but it's become now a habit.
What would you, if you could name 3 main things that you're like, right, this has really had the impact that it's had?
Yeah, so there's the obvious, which is losing 5 kilos, right? Yeah. And that's in new money. I mean, what is that, nearly a stone, I think, in old money?
Yeah, it is a stone.
Yeah, so look, that's not a bad achievement in 3 months. As I've said, the real achievement going forward is to keep it off, because there's no point doing the yo-yo thing, you know, like all these other Muppet diets, you know, where it's on and off, on and off, on and off. So that to me has been a real achievement. And then I guess the other takeaway is I've genuinely had, I'm going to sound like a really vain person now, a number of people telling me that I look good. And do you know what? That validation of doing something for reasons around health and longevity, but then for other people to say that you look good, is a wonderful, wonderful thing. One of my motivations, by the way, and you know this, but for the benefit of the few people that might watch and be interested in what I've got to say on this, you know, my wife and my 3 daughters are very, very sporty, and they're forever running cross-country races. Like, one of my daughters was in the National Cross Country Championships on Saturday. She also plays in tennis tournaments. You know, the other 2 are doing all sorts of things, netball, hockey. My wife used to be a personal trainer. You know, I was kind of ashamed, really, that I was the one in the family that didn't have this kind of physical activity and physical discipline. So yeah, but now they see me going into, you know, my gym room every morning to do my exercises, or I say I've got to go and deliver something to my accountant in Brentwood, and I live in Shenfield, and I say I'll be back in an hour, I'm going to walk. You know, I'm kind of up there with them now, and that makes me feel really, really good, and I'm leading by example.
Final question, and I said I'd ask you this, like, let's say someone's watched this or watching this in the future and they're like, okay, yeah, great. I'm not sure. I'm a bit skeptical. Or they're on the fence about maybe talking to me or joining. What would you say to someone who's kind of like contemplating, but they're not quite sure?
Luke, I honestly, I can't imagine if someone knows that they need a little bit of a push, right? And it's, again, no magic bullet. If they know that they need a little bit of discipline, structure, or help, call it whatever you like, I'm not sure why they wouldn't want to kind of do what is obviously a proven recipe for looking and feeling better. Those that don't do it clearly are quite happy to kind of, perhaps exist in a less healthy and aesthetically pleasing way. I think that you've got to commit. I think you owe it to yourself to look and feel better physically and mentally, to challenge yourself. And honestly, prevention is better than cure. Don't end up being one of these guys that's having a heart attack at 55 because you're just eating shit all your life and you're 4 stone overweight and you smoke and you drink too much, right? That's, by the way, I've just described most of my friends. Seriously, just commit. It's 12 weeks, right? As a percentage of how long you've been on Earth, the average 40-year-old or 50-year-old, it's a kind of tiny amount of time. So commit, and then challenge yourself thereafter to continue with it. I'll tell you something, right? And it's almost coincidence. See this shirt? This is me now, right? I don't look that bad. I bought this shirt about 3 or 4 years ago. Didn't realise it was a bit of a fitted shirt. I tried it on when I first bought it, and it didn't fit. It did this, right? It did that. Yeah. I look like what's her name? Violet out of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The girl that explodes because she eats the wrong sweet. But I put this on this morning, thinking, I wonder if that will fit. And it does.
There we go. Happy days.
It's a physical kind of demonstration of where you can end up just with a little bit of commitment and a little bit of discipline.
Nice. Right. Well, on that note, Russell, thank you very much for your time. It's been really, really helpful and insightful. If anyone's been watching this and interested in having a chat, like Russell said, about what we do in the program and how we can help, drop a note in the comments or drop me a DM. Otherwise, again, Russell, thank you and have a great Wednesday, guys. Cheers.